I believe you testified yesterday that your youngest daughter was born in October of 2018, is that right?
Yes.
And at the time of the events in this case, in September of 2020, that would make her not quite 2 years old.
Yes,
And you were still breastfeeding her at that time?
I was.
So where we left off yesterday was that I was about to begin questioning you about some of the actions that you took to destroy or conceal evidence in this case.
Okay.
And I think where we had exactly left off was I had asked you about removing Mr. Emerald's belongings from his vehicle.
Yes.
And you testified that you had placed them in a bag.
Yes.
And then the attempt was to burn those items, correct?
Yes.
And then you took steps to hide the burn pile.
I did.
You covered it with rocks
I did.
to make it not visible.
Yes.
You testified yesterday that you wiped down the inside of Mr. Emerald's vehicle,
Yes, I did.
various surfaces,
Yes.
and then including the door handles on the outside of the vehicle as well.
Yes.
You tried to hide the vehicle itself.
Under instruction, yes.
Covered it with a tarp,
Yes.
cut down branches,
Yes.
piled those branches in front of and around and on top of the vehicle.
With the help of Mr. Brown, yes.
And you also wrapped Mr. Emerald's body in a tarp.
I did.
You attempted to bury it,
I did.
and when that didn't work, you dragged it to the creek that you described yesterday.
I did.
And you did that after you had removed his head.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to show the witness what's been marked as Exhibit 45, State's Exhibit, 45CC. You removed his head using that saw there.
Yes, I did.
And I'm going to show her State's Exhibit 45DD. And when the saw didn't complete the job, you used the knife that's pictured there, correct?
Yes, I did.
Sure. Your Honor, if I might just take a moment and show those to the jury.
Yes.
Pause there. The knife is there. You removed Mr. Emerald's head with his body still in his Subaru Impreza, correct?
That is correct.
But you had pulled it out partway, his body that is?
I did.
And you had done that so that when you removed his head, it would fall to the ground.
Yes, I did.
I want to review something that Attorney Gotti asked you about yesterday. You spoke about the afternoon of Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020.
Yes.
That was the afternoon that the Fish and Game officers came to the campsite area, so to speak.
Yes.
And you testified that they transported you to the Berlin Police Department,
Yes.
where you met with officers Amachucci and Shackford from the state police.
That is correct.
And the day of that Tuesday ended with you being taken by them, the officers that is, to a hotel up north, correct?
Yes.
And then the next day, Wednesday, September 23rd, you spent time with officers Amachucci and Shackford as well?
Yes.
And at the end of your contact with them on that Wednesday, September 23rd, you were not arrested.
No. I
You
was.
were released.
Yes.
And you spent that Wednesday night at a coworker's house,
I did.
Ryan Raboyne's house?
I did.
And that was after officers Amachucci and Shackford had helped you make phone calls to find a place to stay?
Yes.
And it wasn't until the next evening, Thursday, September 24th, that you were arrested.
That's correct.
And that was at about 11:30 in the evening, roughly.
I'm not 100% certain on that.
But it was late at night.
It was late at night.
I want to discuss what you were and were not charged with in terms of crimes. You were charged, as you said yesterday, with falsifying physical evidence,
Yes.
and 3 counts of that, correct?
That is correct.
1 count for cleaning Mr. Amaralt's vehicle,
Yes.
a 2nd count for wrapping his body in a tarp and
Yes.
dragging it into the woods,
That's correct.
and then the 3rd count for decapitating Mr. Amaralt's body.
Yes.
And the same prosecutors that are here in this courtroom, Attorney Agati and Attorney Chase, they were the prosecutors on your case as well.
That's correct.
And they made the decision what to charge you with and what not to charge you with.
Objection, Your Honor.
You were not charged with assaulting Mr. Amaralt.
No, I was not.
You were not charged with standing on his neck,
No, I was not.
not charged with slitting his wrists,
No, I was not.
and you weren't charged with killing him.
No, I was not.
You pled guilty, as you said yesterday, to those 3 charges of falsifying physical evidence
I did.
pursuant to a plea agreement that you discussed yesterday.
That is correct.
A plea agreement that you and your attorney made with Attorney Agati and Attorney Chase.
That is true.
And under the terms of that plea agreement, you have already been released from the prison.
That is true.
You recently met with those same prosecutors, correct? Attorney Agati and Attorney Chase?
That is correct.
And met with them prior to your testimony yesterday?
That is correct.
Met with them to prepare your testimony?
To prepare myself for the trial.
And to testify at this trial?
Ultimately, yes.
Your Honor, if I could have a moment? I don't have any further questions.
Just a brief moment, please, Your Honor. Thank you. Just very briefly, if I may, Your Honor. Ms. Mitchell, I have just a very few handful of questions I'd like to ask you based upon what you were just asked by Attorney Lugo a moment ago.
Okay.
You were asked a moment ago whether you remained at the campsite from Monday night into Tuesday, or not a moment ago, excuse me, yesterday. You were asked by Attorney Lugo whether you had remained at the campsite from Monday night into Tuesday. Do you remember being asked that question?
I do.
Okay. And during that time period, was Jonathan Amarott's Subaru working?
No, it was not.
Where was it?
It was in the woods, like jammed into the woods.
Did you still have your cell phone on you?
Yes.
Did you have any cell coverage?
No, and the phone was dead completely.
You were also asked yesterday about your messages with John, and you stated, I believe your testimony on cross-examination was that your conversations with John on social media had been about 8 to 9 days.
That's correct.
When was those 8 to 9 days? In the past, close to the 8 to 9 days before Jonathan was murdered? When?
It was 8 days, it was about 9 days before he was murdered.
9 days before. You were also asked about your phone yesterday, about the one that we looked at before, TLE4. I want to ask a follow-up question to what you had there. In your phone, did you have people in your household that were saved as contacts?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you have the defendant's mother, Maria Elena, saved as a contact?
I did.
Do you remember what her contact name was?
Mama?
Okay. And did you have her husband, Scott Rikas, saved as a contact?
Yes.
Do you remember what his contact name was?
Scott?
You were asked just a few minutes ago about whether or not that you were still breastfeeding at the time.
Yes.
All right. What concerns did you have when you were brought up north to the Grant about that?
The baby being pulled away from that. Like, that was something she needed just to go to sleep. Like,
So you were still nursing to sleep?
I was nursing for comfort.
And was she eating other foods, solid foods? And
She
others?
was.
And what about with regards to, you were asked a moment ago whether or not you had gone ahead and covered Jonathan's car with a tarp.
Yes.
Did you put the tarp on yourself? Did the defendant help you? How did that tarp get on the car?
I honestly don't remember.
And the cutting of the branches. I know you've testified before that that was something that both you and the defendant did together. Is that
That
right?
is accurate, yes.
And you were asked a moment ago about when you cut and decapitated Jonathan. What was the defendant doing while you did that?
Watching me do it.
And last question, Attorney Lugo asked you about the fact that you had not been charged with standing on Jonathan's neck or cutting his wrists or even pointing a gun at him. Are you familiar with a part of the criminal code that has to be found that voluntary act take place?
Objection, Your Honor.
We can approach.
don't forget that you can take a stretch if you need to while we're at sidebar. Thank you for your patience.
So, Ms. Mitchell, are you familiar with the portion of the law that requires any criminal act that to be taken, you have to find that it has been a voluntary act, that somebody has done it voluntarily? Are you familiar with that portion or concept of the law?
Not really.
Next question is, are you familiar with the portion of the law that says that an act that is taken under duress is not a voluntary act?
Under just objection.
Overruled.
Go ahead, you can answer the question.
I have heard of that.
Thank you very much. I don't have any further questions for you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
No further questions.
All right, Ms. Mitchell, so the questioning is done. Is she subject to recall, perhaps? Is she going to be excused?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Okay.
At this point, we don't believe so.
Okay, all right, so you're excused. Thank you.
Thank you.